COVID is actually when I got into Forex. That was COVID, yeah. Because I had a lot of time, right? I was watching YouTube videos on investing, and that's how I kind of got into just investing in general. I wanted some kind of a passive income.
Welcome, everybody, to the third episode of the Pulling Profits podcast. In today's episode, we have a very special guest. This is a friend of mine I found through the Trading LP trading community, the private Discord community. First of all, I want to say that I wouldn't have started this podcast if it wasn't for Usman, if it wasn't for LP himself. As most of you know, he unfortunately passed away recently, and a lot of his Discord, we've been mourning his loss and trying to just remember all the good times that we had with him. I know my friend here, Areen, Blue Trader, he's also a staple part of the community. Again, Usman was an excellent human being. I'm sure you can attest to that. And I just want to tell everyone that you need to go see your loved ones and visit friends often because our time is short here, okay? With that being said, welcome, Areen.
Hi, Jay. How are you doing?
Good. I'm glad you joined us all the way from Maldives. I know it's late where you are right now.
Yeah, it's around 10 p.m. right now.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you joined. Hopefully we could ask a couple questions and share some knowledge with anyone who's new in the trading community. Maybe they could learn something, a thing or two from this conversation.
Of course, yeah.
Perfect. What kind of hobbies are you into outside of your trading?
I tend to get myself into a lot of stuff, a lot of jobs too. I've been playing music. I play music in some resorts. I have actually gone into the whole fitness route too, where I like to train people, give nutritional advice. And for all of these hobbies, I try to monetize it in some way. It wasn't that successful. Trading is also started as a hobby because I just like charts, the way it moves, and it's sort of intriguing trying to understand something that is so complicated, right? And apart from that, I do play basketball too. I started playing football just this month, and I play badminton. Yeah, pretty much all around try to do a lot of random stuff to make life a little bit more interesting. Yeah.
Nice, man. So it sounds like you're pretty active outside of the charts. You keep your blood flowing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to have some type of physical activity, especially with such a stressful career path, right? I know sometimes it's nice to just go to the gym or do some type of physical activity before you get on the charts. It helps alleviate stress and make good decisions, right?
For sure. A lot of people even does meditation before they get into the charts, just so that they have the right mindset and they can take the right decisions for the day.
It's definitely a good habit to get into. So how did you find trading, especially the foreign exchange? And what's life kind of like for you right now, incorporating trading into your life?
I know a lot of people actually got introduced by IML, but I kind of got into trading in a pretty random way. When I was a kid, I used to see people, this Wall Street stuff in movies and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued by it. You don't really have any products. There's nothing physical. You're just pressing a button. You're either making money or losing money. So I think that's really, and I found the suits and the whole environment pretty cool. And I know it's a bit difficult to actually get licensed and get into Wall Street. So I thought I would just do some research on how to just some way to get into trading. Watch YouTube on how to invest in stocks, and in that direction, I think I found Forex as well. And incorporating trading in my life, well, I think it kind of made a huge difference because from my payouts, I was actually lucky enough to pay off a lot of my loans to people, right? Got a good payout from my Forex fund, and I was able to pay everything off. Now I have excess. Every single month there's a little bit of excess, and that little bit of excess just makes your life a lot more easier, and you're a lot less stress free, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Trading does play a big role in my life right now, especially because also because I'm super interested in charts, just in general, not about money, not about anything else. When you're really passionate about doing something and you keep consistently working on it, it just becomes one of your life goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're goal oriented, you are that would that would affect every other aspect of your life. Trading does play a big role in my life right now.
Awesome, man. That's good to hear. I like to hear that, man. So, like, would you say you're still working a job on the outside to fund the trading?
Well, actually, I was working at Ernst& Young is a big four firm, so I was working there as an auditor. I have always, for the longest time, I was working as an auditor, but then I had my old boss from an insurance company who offered me a very nice deal. He was offering me almost double the pay, and he did tell me that I would get time to trade. He understands that I am not somebody that likes to just do 8 hours. I mean,
Mm,
a lot of people in the office even had complaints about me because I'm not staying in the same place. But management didn't have that many problems with me because I was delivering the work, right?
mm-hmm.
I was being very productive, but I cannot adjust to that lifestyle. It's just not me. So now I'm mostly like working from home, visiting to client meetings and places sometimes. I have enough time for trading as well. So it's really working out great for me right now.
You know, a lot of people, especially when COVID hit, they found an interest in trading because it was something they could do from home, like you said. And when you work from home, you can't not look at the charts. It's always there in front of you. You know what I mean?
COVID is actually when I got into Forex. That was COVID, yeah.
There you go.
I was I mean I was into like silly stuff like IQ options, which is not even real options, and I was messing around with that stuff, but I got really serious in COVID because I had a lot of time, right? And I was watching YouTube videos on investing, and that's how I kind of got into just investing in general. I wanted some kind of a passive income.
Hmm.
It's not possible for people outside US to actually invest in Robinhood and stuff. I understand that like you need a lot of capital, right? And if you're going for trading stocks, you would at least need like $600 to $1,000 for something like Trade Zero. And I didn't have that. I didn't want to invest that. So that's how I kind of got into Forex because you can just you can just invest your $10 and try to make something.
Yeah, you can trade on leverage, right? You don't need to have that 20,000 minimum to invest.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
It's nice to be able to do stuff like that, but the barrier for entry is so high. That's one thing that, entices a lot of people to the FX market, the FX community. Because the barrier to entry is so low, anybody can get involved. But at the same time, that opens up the door to a lot of, poor trading.
That is also actually the only reason they have a 95% fail rate. I believe that is the only reason there's like a really high failure rate for Forex. Nobody takes it seriously these days. It's very hard to tell your friends and family, oh, okay, I trade Forex, and they'll be like, oh, so you don't work a job.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah, definitely. As far as education goes, were there any courses or free content that you came across that really solidified your knowledge in the markets?
So yeah, so one night, right, I was looking at the charts and I was just looking at Reddit on different strategies, and there was this hype about ICT, and everybody's hating on him. And I'm like somebody like I don't care about how much money a certain like person of interest makes. I want to see myself whether this works out or not, right? I won't trust anybody's words. I watched a few videos and I went back to the charts, and the first thing I noticed is that the London session actually create this manipulation of the higher low of the day, and that moment, that was when I started to actually spend around 4 to 6 hours a day consistently for over a year at least, just studying ICT concepts. I think that was a real game changer for me when I first discovered ICT, and then I kind of deviated from that. I started to actually specialized in supply and demand concept. I do watch a lot of FTMO interviews. I kind of watch all of it, just because it's interesting, and I kind of don't really like the way some people think about the chart. Even though it's valid, it's good, it's profitable. If that doesn't align with how my perception of the market, I just ignore it. I just watch it like Netflix, right? And I found LP just pretty amazing how he analyzed the market, how he thought about the market, and that's the only course I bought. I didn't buy any other course, and everything else is free on YouTube. And before I even bought the course, I had already passed several like funding challenges, and just by using ICT concepts, and then Ment FX, just all the free stuff on YouTube. There's hours and hours of free videos on YouTube, and also Doyle Exchange. He trades a 5 minute supply and demand, and so I think those are the main guys I do learn from. And then you also have some other people like Steve Lewis, who's like he doesn't trade supply and demand, but it looks the same for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just in overall, then I don't watch a lot of when a trader is too successful. I don't watch it too much because there's no way to verify it. I mean they won't share their profit splits and everything, so you can't really relate to them on a personal level, right?
That's interesting because when I was also doing my deep dive on content, the people that I gravitated towards the most were the people that weren't showing their profits and flexing their profits. They show their entries, they show the process. And the funny thing is, I bought a lot of courses, and the ones that I resonated with were those people. I don't want to be that guy that's just flexing profits all the time. I want to be very focused on the heart of the education, right? So that's interesting you said that.
Just felt like people like the profits. They're not really focused on the education for most part. That's the truth. They want to
Yeah.
see the lifestyle. They want to see what kind of car you have, what kind of watch you have. It's just kind of disappointing, man. But when you talk to a trader, okay, this happens so many times, and you tell somebody that it's gonna take around 2 years, they just
Yeah.
flip out on you. That it takes 2 years, but most people will absolutely not be able to do it within 2 years, man. Like most people would not spend 4 6 hours every single day while knowing that this might never work out. This
Mm-hmm.
might never generate any kind of return. So you have to be really obsessed about not about the money, but about actually understanding the market and actually just be really passionate about trading to be able to do this.
Are there any books that you recommend to any new traders out there?
I'm not really a reader. I don't read too much stuff.
Same as my last guest. He doesn't read any books.
But at the same time, of course, I read one book which is Naked Forex, and then of course everybody would recommend Trading in the Zone. It's a psychology books, but trading in essence has two parts to it, which is skills and psychology. Skills now, it gets better automatically. If you're putting in consistent work, it's just gonna improve. Like you don't need to do too much, you're just gonna spend the time every single day in a consistent manner.
Mm-hmm.
Psychology, you cannot read it from a book because you have to feel like you have to have those emotions and also deal with them and
Mm-hmm.
get better like day by day. But if you want to read a book, I would just tell the guests to just read Trading in the Zone. It's one of the most popular books. It's a very good read.
There's preparing for trading by reading or watching videos, whatever. And then there's getting your feet wet in the market and learning through firsthand experience of losing. That is huge, and that's what develops intuition. That's something very special that you cannot read in the book. I agree.
Intuition and also thinking in probability, like probabilistic mindset. You can, like, everybody talks about it, but to actually think in that mindset is very hard to do.
Would you say that when you're in a trade and once you enter a trade, it's best not to even look at the chart?
Well, I can't say something I don't do. So
Okay.
I'm like very obsessed with how the market moves. So I usually just watch it. I watch it hit my stop loss so many times. It's like a little pinch in your heart. You gotta do it because it builds character in a way.
Yeah.
Builds character because you you and it's fine to feel emotions, it's fine to feel frustrated, angry, but you need to understand that you cannot act on any of those emotions.
No.
If you tend to act on those, you cannot be a trader. And
Exactly.
that's why as a practice, I just do it, as a practice.
Okay. Wow, you got balls of steel, man. I cannot watch my trades develop. I have to close the charts, but everybody's different, right? As long as you can watch it and not mess with your trade, adjust your stop loss, scale into it, that's good. You have the
Yeah.
discipline not to do that.
It takes a lot of patience actually to do what you do. I don't think I had the patience to not watch charts. I guess it's a bit annoying for me. Really frustrated. I need to know what's going on.
That's fair. That's fair. What would you say are elements of a trading plan that you think would be best to have written out for yourself?
Obviously, like as you know, a trading strategy means nothing, absolutely nothing, if you don't have a trade plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
To develop, you have to develop a trading system around your psychology, which connects with that sort of strategy to make it work. Now, a trading plan should include like what type of strategy, obviously, but also what kind of setups that you specialize in. You need to know what kind of candlestick confirmations you want to actually take those trades, but at the same time, some traders just like pending orders, right? That's also
Mm-hmm.
an option. If you want to do pending orders, do pending orders only. It should be something that is calculatable. And for the risk to reward, also, I would suggest people, especially people who are starting out, to have a fixed risk to reward and also understand what kind of win rate that you have, right? What kind of win rate is expected, because a lot of the time what might happen is when you lose a trade, it is a losing trade on that specific strategy. If you won that trade, you didn't follow the trading plan. So you need to understand that this is the expected win rate and the risk to reward, and also find out a way to match it with your psychology, right? If you don't like to lose a lot, go for lower risk reward. It's very simple, right?
Mm.
Then you can make rules for manual close. Maybe you want to manually close it at the end of each day, or you want to let it run through the next day. It really is a personal preference.
Mm.
The general rules, I think that is, it will take a lot of time to actually get the numbers right. It will take a lot of time to actually know that this is the perfect risk to reward and win rate to get the best expected value based on your psychology.
Mm-hmm.
You might get a better like expected value with a different setting, but if it doesn't align with your psychology, you're not likely going to follow it, right?
Right.
Doesn't even matter. So you need to find a plan and actually just work on the plan to make it better, and don't change it.
Mm.
And don't change it and just follow it. And then I also do have, I do it on Excel, everything on Excel. I do have a trade analysis and also a trade commentary, which is after the trade. And then just basic, P&L stuff, how much I risk, if there's a scale in, how much for the scaling, and the net P&L amount within the dates. That's it.
Okay, so you collect your data, you keep it in an Excel spreadsheet, and you journal every trade and how you're feeling with it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. There's another thing. I have a separate setup book. So means every setup I have like pictures of the setup with all the markups in a separate book. So you can't put that in your plan, right? So I just do it separately.
Okay.
And if I showed that to a new trader, they're gonna think probably that all the setups are the same because it looks absolutely so similar to each other. I think that's how I gained the edge on this specific setups that I sent to the Discord as well.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, with your strategy, which pairs did you find the most consistency with so far?
So recently, it's been just 1 or 2 months. I've been only focusing on the AUD CHF and NZD crosses. So I actually don't have a preference when it comes to pairs. I backtested on my own, like when I had Thinkorswim, GBP USD and AUD USD only for like 10 years of data, and then after that I found the same setups work on every different pair. So I didn't really care too much about pair selection, but that's when I tried to specialize on on different strategies and understood that okay, maybe I can get even a better edge when I focus on different pairs. Now, I couldn't find a logical response from anybody regarding this. Okay,
Hmm.
everyone says that okay, I trade these pairs because I understand it better. But what does that mean? I mean, a market, you're not looking at a lot of things. You're looking at market structure, you're looking to apply your strategy, you're looking to manage risk for your trades. Now, so what is the, I mean, if you say that okay, supply and demand works on one pair better than the other, what does that mean? Is it a problem with the strategy or with the pair?
Funny you said that. It's like a lot of people don't realize that when the higher time frame is moving a certain way, that actually dictates the market conditions on the lower time frames, right? And what you said earlier, you said like a strategy works no matter the pair. It just depends on like who you are, right? So I noticed some people, they get experience with like one or two things, and that's what they know best because that's what they had the most experience trading, right? And it goes back to the book that you talked about before, which is Naked Forex. I remember specifically in that book, golden nugget for you guys, there there was a chapter that spoke about market specialists and trade setup specialists. Now, these two people are completely different traders. The market specialist likes to focus on one or two pairs. Like the majority of people that I know that trade, they focus on one or two things. They don't diversify their strategy into anything else because that's what they feel works best for them. And I feel like you probably fall into the category of a trade specialist where you have a setup that works with your strategy and you don't care like what you're looking at, you just focus on that setup, right?
For sure. Yeah. That's uh that's exactly how I trade because all the challenges I have passed so far, I trade 28 pairs. I never had problem with, having too many pairs. I never had it. And every single setup it takes around 5 to 6 seconds. 5 to 6 seconds, that's it. I see the setup, I know it's a setup. I'm just gonna, do the lot size calculation, just enter, boom, done.
Mm, that's beautiful, man. You know, you're a rare trader. Not a lot of people I know trade everything. They don't do that confident.
I'm also trying to remove some, even if I'm a setup based trader, it kind of gets annoying just pressing the space bar. And since I've found the edge in more towards the Asian pairs now, I don't really care too much about missing trades anymore, right? On
Hmm.
pairs.
Yeah, I really like the Asian pairs too. The New Zealands, the Aussie dollars, some of the yens. So what time is Asian session for you?
Asian session, yeah, I can't trade it. It's like 4 a.m. It's
Okay,
too early. But
okay,
I
okay.
did send a setup this week on Monday, which really just melted. I had the same inverted setup, and I removed it simply because it's a Monday, it's an Asian session. I really expect it to work. Just focusing on the setups and how the candle confirmations I get. If I'm confident, I just send it out to the group.
Awesome. I like that, man. You're helping a lot of the newer guys in the group, and it goes a long way. Some people don't say anything, but I know it's helping a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. Some people have messaged me on Discord and they just tell me that they're not here for any kind of secret information. They just appreciate me helping them out. So I really like that.
Yeah, it's perfect, man. I noticed some traders psychologically find it easier to see, sell setups versus buy setups. Like some traders can call themselves short sellers. Some people prefer to long the market. One thing I noticed about you in the community is you like to invert your charts. You want to explain to the audience the reason for that?
Well, even if you go through FTMO interviews, I feel that a lot of people have a specific bias when it comes to trading in general. Some people are just really good at shorts, some people are just really good at longs. But for me, I was doing okay with longs and shorts. I just decided it was just a personal decision to specialize in a setup. Now, my mindset is like a lot of people tell you that don't trade too many strategies, right? Just focus on one strategy. So I try to apply that or expand that. So let's go with one single strategy. And in a single strategy like supply and demand, you'll see a lot of different kind of setups, right? So let's focus on one single setup, two setups for the single strategy, right? And then you wanna go with what are the different assets that really works well with that setup. So from that point, the only thing you can advance through is to have a specific personal bias. I think that the short setup just generally works a lot better for me.
When I was trying to like gain experience in my trading journey, I was exactly like you. For some reason, I could only see and trust short setups. That's another thing. There's a difference between seeing a setup and trusting that it's gonna play out in your favor. Those are two completely different things, right?
Yeah, and I also used to I because I was really good at breakout trading, I know when it is most likely not going to work out. That's the short setups I'm taking. So I'm using my previous losses as a guide to actually gain more confidence on the short side. I didn't like shorts before at all. Kind of like my favorite thing. And I I have like when I see big red candles, instead of getting into drawdown now, my PNL is green. So it's really easy psychologically to just stick with one bias.
That's huge,
I
man.
don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. You never know. Works best for anybody.
Well, it works for you, right? And that's
Yeah,
what matters in trading. People always look to see what's working for other people, but you need to literally get some skin in the game and see what works best for you and play to your strengths.
for sure. Yeah.
So, what are some mistakes that you've made in your trading journey that you've corrected, or maybe you still battle with till this day?
Well, actually, I only have one mistake, which is I kind of battle with overconfidence with the setup. So with overconfidence, it comes to over leveraging, right?
Mm.
So that is a mistake I've been dealing with, and I have actually dropped down my risk quite a bit from when I first started. For me to battle that, I've been doing so much other stuff in my life, right? Trying to
Hmm.
be consistent in gym, trying to be consistent in staying healthy, meals. All of these indirectly will contribute to your trading at some point. At
Mm.
some level, it will. And I feel that it's getting a lot better for me.
With overconfidence, does that come with, like hitting a winning streak? Does that happen after a winning streak? Or do you just wake up one day and feel this setup is great, I want to put more risk on?
I think it's just a personal problem of having an ego, and
Mm.
to be completely honest, like we as traders, we need to admit to our mistakes, our problems, right? I think it boils down to just sticking with your plan.
I agree. I tell all my students to write out their trading plan and print it on their monitor just so that like it's right there in your face every day. So if you do over leverage, trading plan's right there, you broke your rules, you know why you're upset, right? So there's some debate between trading off mobile devices versus trading off a desktop. I wanted to know what your preference is and why.
My preference is definitely just a PC. I don't trade off mobile at all. And I don't even have MT4 trading beyond my mobile, to be honest. I'm not even allowed to look. It comes down to just part of psychology where I want to trade. You basically need to have a routine where you trade at the same time. You have an office space, you gotta trade. It should not be something which you just pick from your, you just pick your phone up and you see a trade setup, boom, you're in. You will see a lot of beginners with their mobile phone trying to make those big gains in one day.
Mm-hmm.
So just stay away from, would just advise people to stay away from mobile phones and just have a separate work setup for trading. And if you don't have a work setup, just save some money and create an actual workspace for trading so that you have that mindset right when you come and analyze the charts.
I couldn't agree more. I'm at a point in my trading where I'm pretty disciplined and I follow my rules day in and day out. I have a routine. So I do have my mobile app. However, I do prefer to have my MT5 open on my computer and try and use my computer more, because the barrier to entry is so low. If you roll out of bed and you just open up your phone, it's easy to take a bad setup because you see it right away when you wake up, right? So I think it's huge on your discipline, like you said, for sure. So why don't you walk me through one of your lowest points in your trading and kind of what you learned from that? If it was like a week or a month or even one day.
Man, I mean, it's hard to talk about it because I've had so many low points. Like traders don't have just one low point. They go through this phase where you kind of figure out everything, and then you kind of realize that you haven't. And then it's a repetitive process where you think you have made it, you have figured it out, and then you kind of realize that you don't. And it keeps happening over and over and over again until you don't really even have anything in you. And the only thing that's moving you forward is not even the drive and passion, just the consistency. That's the habits that you have built, right? I think in my lowest point, when you go to the live account, now it's a live account. You get 80% of whatever you make, right? You get 80%. So you tend to mess up so much. So I was messing up on the live account. So I was texting Usman and I was just talking to him. I passed so many challenges. I can't make any money. What am I like doing even for? And then he's been always. I didn't buy the course even. He wouldn't even push me to buy it. And I guess he just talked to me and told me some some struggles he had also. Then I don't know actually how I got through it. I guess it comes down to just being insanely obsessive in this craft.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to be a little insane to actually get through in trade.
I agree 100%. Yeah, Usman was definitely one of the most inspirational traders out there. Like, I wouldn't even pursue my own content if it wasn't for him. He helped me gain the confidence to do so. And I understand where you're coming from when you know, pass that phase 2 and then you mess up the live account. That's how I got my first challenge done. I finally got the live account and my psychology was off. I stopped doing the things that were winning and I went and traded something completely unrelated to my watch list. Like, you just do stupid things sometimes, right? It's like we're just self-destructive sometimes, and that's okay. We're human, you know what I mean? So with that being said, this is the traditional final question. Why don't you walk me through one of your best trades ever that you can remember?
Completely honest, I do not think that anybody should have a best trade. Every trade itself has to be very consistent in terms of your take profit. It should look the same. It shouldn't be special, man. Like it shouldn't be any special than the previous trade. Any loss, it shouldn't be any loss shouldn't hurt you more than the previous loss. I feel that because every single trade has no probabilistic edge when it comes to trading. The probability comes from a set of like a large number of samples.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think of any special any setups as one of my best trade. I think that I don't have best trade. I just have normal trades. It either works or it doesn't.
Awesome. You have a fixed take profit, right? You have a fixed ratio that you go for, right?
Absolutely, yeah. 1 to 2, 1 to 2.
One to
I like
two.
to keep my win rate a little bit higher, but I've seen some trades going. I've seen. I mean, I passed this challenge on AU, and I did see it just drop like 7, 8 R.
Ooh.
And I mean, I've caught some trades which is insane. Actually had a 2% entry, 2% scaling, went up to 14%, covering all the drawdown just to pass the challenge. And I ended
Mm.
up failing that challenge just because of 1%. I didn't close it. I was so stubborn. I had
Oh
my
man.
ego way high up, and I just want to get it done. So yeah, in a psychological, so I'm trying to work on, so I can't work on psychology while calling these some of my traits the best, right? So it's
Yeah.
part of my psychology to really truly admit that there is no best setup for.
I like that. That's a different answer I wasn't expecting. I like that, and I'm glad that it works for you. Having a fixed target in mind, that's a great way to be consistent with taking profits, right?
Because like take profits can be really discretionary, and especially for new traders, I might be able to work with targeting areas of liquidity. On new traders, it's gonna be very, very, very hard. It's gonna be impossibly hard to actually know what to expect of the range or volatility in the.
After you get risk management down, after you get your stop loss placement, is your target take profit. That's the hardest thing to get down.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like you said, sometimes your trade will just go for 8R and then you're like, oh, I got out at 2R. Oh my God, I left all that profit on the table, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there was one trade I can remember, which was I actually analyzed a support and resistance setup, and then I changed it to a supply and demand setup, and it does make sense in both strategies. I took it at 2% on a live account. And then my plan was if I'm making good money. If I'm making 2% at 1-to-1, because the risk is high, obviously very high for a live account, right? So I'm just gonna get exit at 1R, and it kind of just flew off. I think I could have made like that was a 20K. I was risking 400 for 400. I could have made like $4,000 trade. I didn't regret it, because that's the only time I kind of made like a good amount consistently. I had like I don't know, my win rate was 80% thing for that account. But I'm more moving towards 1-to-2 at a 50% win rate now. It's more realistic term.
That's great, man. I'm glad you shared that. Not a lot of people set a fixed amount to take profit, and to hear another trader admit that that's how his system works and that's how he executes it is going to be huge, man. There's a lot that new traders can take from this, you know what I mean? This is stuff that not a lot of people discuss. So thank you for sharing that. Mr. Blue Trader, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. Again, you guys, this is another trader in Usman LP's trading community, a staple part, win or loss, very transparent, great trader again. Appreciate you having you on all the way from Maldives. I know it's late. Thank you for your time, brother. I'm going to leave all his information in the description below. I'll tag his Instagram and all that. You guys want to reach out, you can. Thank you very much, everybody, and happy trading.